Saturn return. Okay, first of all, what is a Saturn return? Well, Saturn, the planet, takes about 29 to 30 years to orbit the sun. So, what a Saturn return is it's the planet Saturn returning to the place that it was in the sky at the time you were born. So, because Saturn takes typically around 29 to 30 years to orbit the sun, a Saturn return typically happens in your late 20s, around, your 29th birthday or your 30th birthday. Sometimes it's a bit sooner. Or your late 50s or your 60th birthday. Sometimes it's a bit sooner before that, too. So you typically have two Saturn returns, You have one in your late 20s, early 30s, and then you have another, in your late 50s and 60s. And then you have another, and if you're blessed, to see 90, you have another at 90. It takes 30 years for Saturn to return. So think of it that way, okay? All right. So what happens during the Saturn return? Well, being a Capricorn myself, Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. Let me tell you a little bit about Saturn. All right. Saturn is not the mean, evil-like planet that people make it out to be. It's just a very tough, loving planet. It's not a planet that's going to hold your hand like Mercury or maybe Jupiter or Venus. It's not a planet that is going to be, nice and bubbly and sweet, and sugarcoat things, like Venus. Saturn rules karma. It's the lord of karma. Saturn rules the past. It rules time. It rules weight. It rules debt. It rules, hard work ethic. It rules career, status, reputation. So all of these things are going to be called to play. All of these things are going to be judged by Saturn, and Saturn's going to say this is working, this isn't working. So typically a Saturn return starts by, metaphorically speaking, Saturn, kind of comes in, and takes a review or a look at your life, your current life, during whatever, whenever the Saturn return is occurring, and says, okay, we're here, all right, this is working, this isn't working, Saturn's going to look at if you're on the right path or not, in terms of your career, in terms of your overall life purpose. Are you on, the path to your calling, to your destiny? And if you are, well then great, maybe, Saturn gives you, after the kind of review, Saturn gives you a little checklist of, a few things that you need to work on, a few things that'll be addressed, during your Saturn return. Typically if you're on the right path during your Saturn return or leading up to your Saturn return, Saturn will let you know. You're going to be rewarded. You're going to kind of keep given little crumbs to let you know, hey, keep going. One thing I want to say about a Saturn return is that typically a lot of us will start paths to the seemingly unknown. And the wonderful thing about a Saturn return, though, is that you always know that the unknown leads to something, all right? Saturn's just not going to leave you hanging, all right? Saturn is going to, once again, Saturn wants to make sure you learn the lessons, that you incorporate the lessons. And you're not going to learn the lessons, and you're not going to learn to incorporate the lessons by just having something handed to you. Saturn wants you to go through the experiences. Saturn wants you to, really learn and gain the knowledge and wisdom that you need to gain to get to the position that Saturn ultimately wants you to get to. All right. So one thing I want to say is that, even when, it feels like you're in the midst of the unknown, even when it feels like you are unsure, you're second guessing yourself, you're hesitant, you don't know where you're going, which direction you're going in, keep going. Trust your intuition during this process. Trust your intuition during a Saturn return, okay? And know that even during those moments of feeling lost, feeling, having no sense of direction, or feeling like you have no sense of direction, keep going on the path you're going. And like I said, Saturn will let you know if you're on the right path or not. Typically, ways to know that you're not on the right path is that, doors are being closed. It's too much. It's too hard of a struggle to get to where you want to get to. That's typically, doors will be closed. endings. Endings are to be expected during a Saturn return. So, know that any ending, any door closed is simply, Saturn trying to redirect you to the right path, okay? That's one thing I want to say about a Saturn return. So Saturn's going to let you know if you're on the right path. Saturn's going to let you know if you're on the wrong path too. And this is where, the kind of fear mongering comes from, and the trepidation comes from for when it comes to Saturn return. Because those who aren't on the right path, when a Saturn return, happens, or when a Saturn return is occurring, tend to suffer the most, and it's important once again to remember that Saturn return is really just a chance for you to redirect, to get your life back on track. And you're getting a help from the master of getting your life back on track. You're getting help from the planet that has the tools to get you there, to see you through, to teach you the wisdom, to teach you the things you need to know to succeed. Oh my god, my stomach is growling. To succeed and move forward with fearlessness and with confidence. So either way, that a Saturn return is a really, really good thing. It's a chance to redirect. Okay, now know that if you're on the wrong path, you are going to be shown, that you're on the wrong path. A Saturn return can be a scary situation, because a Saturn return is like a moment of the universe really, really making you take a hard look in the mirror, and look at what's working and what's not working. A lot of times relationships can take a hit sometimes. Sometimes relationships can deepen. But relationships can also, during this time, no matter what, they're learning lessons. They're there to fuel you, to kind of help you succeed as well. Saturn isn't going to give you, Saturn isn't going to let you lounge around. Saturn is the type of person, where the Saturn walks into the room and there's someone lounging. Saturn is like, get up, stand up straight, go do something, go work. That's Saturn. You know what I'm saying? Saturn's not going to let you just kind of lounge around and be lazy. And if you are, well, you're probably gonna get flack for that from Saturn. Saturn doesn't do well with laziness. But anyways, for those who struggle, with a Saturn return, it can cause depression. It can cause feelings of hopelessness. And those are moments for you to ask the really tough questions. Who am I? Because a Saturn return can kind of warp the idea of who you thought you once were. Granted, typically, the person who you will eventually become, during and after your Saturn return, is always stronger than the person you once were. But it does require doing inner work. It does require going through things, processing things, doing the deep work, doing the hard work to get there. All right. So know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, no matter which, side, no matter which end of the spectrum or which perspective you're coming from with your Saturn return, whether you're having a good Saturn return, a bad one. Know that either way, there are always things that we need to work on. There are always ways in our lives that we can improve, become more efficient, become stronger in our career, in our life purpose, and in our calling. And know that it's okay. Like I said, a lot of endings will happen during a Saturn return. Divorces sometimes happen, breakups happen. These are all, us being directed to the right path. All right. Is it easy? No. But in the end, is it worth it? Yes. Okay. So is a Saturn return scary? It can be. Should you be afraid? No, but if I tell you not to be afraid, will that really make you not afraid? You know what I'm saying? It all really depends on current circumstances of your life, the circumstances of your life that are happening at the time of your Saturn return. If things are, bad at the start of your Saturn return, well, they may get, worse. It may get worse before it gets better. You know what I'm saying? That's typically sometimes how it is in life. Things just get worse before they get better. We have to kind of hit rock bottom sometimes before we can shoot back up, to the top, right? And remember, that's what Saturn wants you to do. Saturn just wants you to get to the top, and release anything that's holding you back from doing that. Release anything that's kind of keeping you stagnant and keeping you stuck, and once again, the things that we need to release can be people, relationships, vices. They can be behavior patterns. They can be, jobs. They can be friendships. They can be living situations. Whatever's not working, Saturn is going to, lift the rock and say, okay, what's going on here? There's some work that needs to be done. Saturn's going to, kind of push the rock over, and Saturn's going to make you look at what's underneath the rock. Like, you can't hide anymore from anything once a Saturn return comes. Like, Saturn is going to come in, inspect every little nook and cranny. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't hide the alcohol stash. You can't hide, the marijuana stash. Like, Saturn is gonna, look at everything. And, anything that's keeping you back, anything that's holding you back, Saturn's gonna make you take a hard look at it and say, oh, really? Is this working? Do you think this is working out for you? All right, we'll see how much this is working out for you, and then Saturn just does its thing, and puts you in situations to really, confront the question of, is this working for me? All right. So use this time, this Saturn return time, as a time to really improve, to grow, to release anything that's holding you back. And once again, this can also be beliefs, ideologies that are holding you back. That's why it can be a really, really kind of chaotic time, because really foundations are being shaken, and, there's a new foundation slowly being built, That's basically what it is. So I hope this explanation was, understandable for you, and I hope it gave you some clarity and insight. If you would like a personal tarot reading, or a personal birth chart reading, or love compatibility birth chart reading, please contact me on my website, Lamarr Townsend. Please contact me on my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com, for your own personal private tarot reading or birth chart reading. If you have any questions during your Saturn return, or if you would like any clarity, or any, help in a sense of direction of where you should be going or heading in during this time, definitely contact me for a reading, and if a birth chart reading would be beneficial for you, as it sometimes is, because, astrology can be a really, great, healthy tool to kind of help navigate these trying times as well, okay? So, contact me, on my website, alright? Also, please subscribe, hit the bell next to the subscribe button so that you get a notification whenever I upload a new video. Alright, also, please follow me on Instagram at Lamarr Townsend. Like me on my Facebook, facebook.com/Lamarr Townsend Official. Love you guys, namaste, have a great Saturn return, okay? Remember, stay strong, stay focused, and stay firm in your beliefs, your convictions, and be open-minded to change, okay? Because, Saturn is all about change and implementing change for the better, all right? All right. Love you lots. Love yourself, all right? See you in the next video.